I think most of them would argue that this is what most of them will say. And I've seen it even in smaller guys or smaller YouTubers, fitness people that I've watched their videos and read their stuff. Most of them will say that it boils down to diet, and they'll say that like if you're like there's a guy that I just recently watched. Have you ever heard of the Cavadlo brothers?
Yeah.
Okay, so like Al Cavadlo, they asked him because he does the Ask Al YouTube videos, and they asked him like, "What do you do? What do you eat in a day?" And he walked through his day of like what he'll eat, and I mean it's pretty much like a glass of water and a cup of coffee in the morning, maybe some eggs and bacon if he's feeling peckish. Then he'll work out. Then he might eat like a piece of fruit such as a banana or an apple. And then his main calorie meal is dinner, and he'll eat like he said in the video he'll eat a piece of steak or a piece of meat, a veggie, and then some other type of carb. And that's his diet, and that works for him. And he's like that's just what I'm used to now at this point in my life. It works for me. You know, he's like, I still weigh like 160. My weight hasn't fluctuated, but he's like, I'm stronger. I feel a lot better. And so that's what works for him.
That's the thing that you're saying, is that it works for him. That works for his body type. That's specifically for him. That's what we're trying to make a point here, is that it is for you. You got to remember that overall fitness is for your body and your body only.
Go ahead.
And certain things may work for you and certain things may not work for you. And it's basically my overall thinking on this is that, first of all, it's going to take time, so lower your expectations just a little bit, and then go forward and keep on making the small goals, but then find out what works for you.
Well, and be okay with the journey in and of itself. And I stopped doing fad diets or trying any of that stuff. I mean,
all right, everybody, I have to take a little quick second to tell you about Anchor.fm. We are affiliated with them, as in this is the place that's hosting our website and all of our podcast feed and everything like that, and he'll be able to distribute it to all the different podcast sites, especially Spotify, because guess what? They're owned by Spotify, which is awesome. So if you are looking to check out the newest podcast presenters and looking for new podcast shows, they have a great collection on here. And on top of that, you're able to support these people. You're able to support us because we're on here. And if you want to, you can go to anchor.fm/SDYLS and you can actually support us. There's a donation button, and then we haven't set up memberships, but you can actually set up memberships as well. And if you are actually starting a podcast, this is a great place to be at, because that's the big thing about it. You can create, distribute, and monetize your podcast for free. Free. And that is huge, because the way that everything is on Anchor is very easy. You can upload everything. You can actually record from Anchor and put in music and everything like that, and it's absolutely free. And it helps out too, because you need a website, especially if you're doing podcasts, because you need an RSS feed, and it can give you all that, and you can distribute it to every different place that you can go to. So definitely check out anchor.fm and check us out on anchor.fm/SDYLS, and definitely give us a listen. And definitely, if you feel it in your heart, donate some money to us, and we can make, better quality videos and give you content that you guys desire. Thank you. And back to the podcast.
The only thing closest recently that I kind of did but didn't do was Weight Watchers, but that was like a point system.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, really, it just boils down to just spending some time, measuring food and just kind of figuring out like, okay, in a normal day, this is how much I'm getting. This is why I'm getting with these results. Okay, I got to change some things. So it's never really like a fad diet. Like that's why when people were going all crazy with like the keto and the paleo and what was the other one? More recently, it was like keto, paleo.
There's the
carnivore diet.
There's the carnivore diet. There's the fasting, the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So this actually brings us into our next point. Is actually what Josh is talking about. Is after you've got the motivation to start working out, the second thing that you kind of need to start focusing on is diet. You may continue, Josh.
Well, I was going to say, like, that's, like when I hear people going on those diets, I always go like, because eventually like you'll lose all the weight. Oh, the other ones is, they're always on TV all the time and I'm drawing a blank. Nutrisystem. That's the other one. It's, yeah, you're eating these things, losing weight, but eventually you have to go off of that.
Yeah, you will.
Like you can't do keto, you can't do paleo, you can't do carnivore. Like all these diet trends, it's like they're not sustainable in the long term. Short term, sure, but long term, no. And unless you're really learning, like that's what, like again, like I have the ability to dictate my breakfast and my lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my home, like I can dictate those 2 meals of my 3 in the day.
Yeah. So
if I mapped it out where 2 days a week I have this like rolled oats breakfast thing that I created. It's got whey protein, it's got a banana, it's got oats, almond milk, cacao powder, and chia seeds. But it only amounts to like 440 calories, but the protein and carbs is a lot because then the rest of my meals aren't carb heavy. Like my lunch isn't carb heavy. It's mainly chicken, broccoli, maybe some brown rice, but it's not as high carb, but that rolled oats is.
Yeah.
And then my lunch is usually a piece of chicken, some type of veggie, and then rice. I'm gonna try and dabble in doing some potatoes, like diced potatoes, roasted potatoes, but it's balanced and again, it's figuring that out, but then also portion controlling and understanding that and that's something that the portion control thing took me the longest to figure out. Because like when I would measure rice, whether it be brown rice or white rice, I was like, oh, like a cup is really like 2 servings. I should be doing a cup. I should be doing half a cup.
Yeah.
Or, like recently I was like, oh, I've been doing 2 pieces of chicken for my lunch. That's double than a single serving. So I probably need to dial it back and just do 1. So sometimes it's not a matter of the content, it's how much of the content that you're eating that's kind of holding you back, and then learning to dial some of it back, and that'll help you kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is the overarching thing, is that like with your meals and your diet, Like, yes, it is essential. That's why they're like, everybody wants to, lose weight fast, get quick results, kind of a thing. That's why there is over 100 diets that's going to help you to lose weight.
They want the Christian Bale diet from The Machinist to Batman Begins.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, with that hero worship, it's because he had a dietitian. He had people to make meals for him. He didn't have to do any prep. But like, I mean, some of these, they're like a lot. Again, diets. We've lived on this earth for thousands and thousands of years. We have, and you have in like back in ancient Rome and everything, you don't have these diets. There's nothing there. It's just like, oh, we eat certain amount, and then because I think the overall arcing thing that is difference between us and them is yes, portion control, because we can go to the grocery store. We can go gather food once a week. We can. Or, people can do it a lot more. With us, we have grocery stores and we have refrigeration. So we can actually be able to preserve our food for long periods of time. Which, way back when, they didn't have that technology. They had to go out, they had to hunt for food, or, yes, they had markets and everything, but they did not have refrigeration. They had, crude different things, but nothing to really keep their meat. So whatever they bought that day, that's what they're going to use. And it depends on how much money that they actually have, or if there was a famine or anything like that, the price is going to pay. And it's like, oh crap, this is all we have. So now, because of our abundance and with refrigeration and technology, like in Wall-E, as technology develops more and more, the fatter we're going to get, because there's not going to be that whole thing. And that's why we have to have these that's why we don't have to have, but we have these set diets that restrict yourself to certain calories per day that fit within your within how you want to eat, kind of a thing. And like there's the Atkins diet.
Yeah, that was
Atkins. Yeah, Atkins was huge. There was the Whole 30. 80s. Yeah, Whole 30, eat whole foods only, foods that are not processed or refined.
And see, the thing is with some of that, it's okay, fine, but some of that's not sold at like an HEB, Kroger, Jewel. Yeah. Some of it you got to go to a Whole Food store, and that costs money.
Yeah, that costs like dieting and eating healthy. I think that's another reason why a majority of Americans cannot do it, is because you cannot afford it. Because eating healthy, eating organic, and eating everything like that, it's expensive. It really is. So it's more of, once you get down like to where myself and Josh's level, it's more of, you kind of have to pick and choose and actually really look at your calorie intake in order to lose weight. And
well, I don't think it's, I think of it more like, yeah, calorie counting and stuff like that, but also the learning how to, I don't want to say cut corners, but like you learn like how to, you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money with certain foods, but some you do, but then others it's like you read the back of the label, you see how much like if you don't need that much sodium, you look at something you look at the sodium content of each thing and you kind of figure out there, because there's some things where it's just like some vegetable stuff, it's like you could easily put that together and with like $5.
Yeah.
I thought
that said the Dunkin' diet. I was like, you gonna be eating some donuts? Yes.
So I'll say this with the calorie thing too, is one thing that I've seen some nutritionists say, specifically when it comes to calorie counting.
Ooh, hold on, I want this one. It's Nourish and Glow. Nourish and Glow.
You just eat a bunch of
kale. Diets that work.
So the diets above it don't work.
Apparently, no. These ones are low carb diets.
Oh, okay.
The diets that work are the ones that you have to pay for, like Weight Watchers.
The Weight Watchers one, again, that's like a point system. So it's like they list like chicken as like having 0 points.
Yeah.
So it's like you can eat as much chicken because again, it's a protein. But what I was gonna say with the calorie intake, it's funny that like there's some people who that I've watched their YouTube videos where they'll say like, don't, because we beat ourselves up if we go above, like let's say it's our cheat day.
Mm-hmm.
And like Friday is typically my quote unquote cheat day, where like for dinner we have pizza.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily sit there and let's say if we order Papa John's, I could easily get the, epic stuffed crust cheese pizza and go completely over, blow it out,
mm-hmm.
and everything. But one thing in the videos that I watched, they said is that it's okay to go over, but just tweak it where it doesn't overkill, and you kind of just say, well, screw it, and I'm just gonna like binge and just completely blow my calorie intake to an unearthly level. So like for example, on that instance, like I've learned to do thin crust,
mm-hmm.
and just kind of go with that, and I can eat like 2 or 3 pieces, not feel like I'm destroying my diet or my calorie intake for the day. And I've tracked it, and I go over a little bit, but I don't overkill it and say like, yeah, screw it. Because I think that's another problem too.
Yeah.
So we kind of go ahead.
Because also with the mindset of overkilling is that you did it one day, and then it's easy to get to relapse back into your original eating, because you're like, man, that was a really good day yesterday. Like I ate so much good stuff and I miss it. And that's what can be like, oh, screw it, I'm going to have another cheat day, and then another cheat day, and then it just becomes your diet.
The mindful eating diet.
There's mindful eating, then there's clean eating, the Mayo Clinic diet, the super carb diet.
There was one guy I knew, he was dieting, but it was like an all fat diet. And he's like, it was like supposed to be eating the healthy fats.
Yeah. That's kind of like keto. Because you're like keto, you basically are eating like, the higher fatty foods and everything. Like not like, potato chips or anything like that, but more
avocado.
Avocado. You don't eat any carbs. That's the big thing, is that you don't eat any carbs, because that doesn't put your body into ketosis. And most of your fatty meals, it's protein. So like your red meat, your chicken, your turkey, your birds, all that, and fish, and then and all that stuff. It's it's supposed to keep your carbs down, but then upping your protein, because protein will fill your stomach up more, so you're eating actually less you're eating less because you're filling up your stomach so much with protein that you always feel full all the time. So it's kind of limiting you. That's what it's ultimately trying to do. It's trying to limit yourself eating wise, because you're eating nothing but protein, and yes, protein does fill you up and keep you filled a lot longer than carbs, because carbs, that's what your body naturally burns first. Then after that it's fat, and that's if you're not eating carbs, your stomach is still staying full with protein, then you're looking at it attacking the fat versus burning carbs, because after you burn carbs, you burn fat. That is the overall keto diet. Jenny Craig, there's a South Beach diet, 80-20.
I've heard about that one.
The Mind diet, the Nordic diet, the Optavia diet, Noom. That's a
new one I've seen.
That's
lately.
the new one that uses psychology to get to the pinpoint of your problems of eating and everything, and try to be more mindful of what you eat, kind of a thing, and breaking those habits and breaking the addictions that you have to either food or sugars or anything like that. So that's what the Noom.
And some of it could be,
it
could just be how you grew up too. Because I know a guy that he grew up in like a family, I think, of 4 or 5 siblings, and it was like, get to the dinner table as soon as you can to eat, otherwise you don't have any food left over. And so like I sat with him at dinner one time, and he just like he hoovered his food like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yeah, I grew up in a family of 5 siblings, and it's just, that's it. I had to eat, so it's like I'm used to just shoving food in my mouth.
And also, I forgot about the keto diet. It's no carbs, no sugar.
Yeah, see, none of that's sustainable. Like over the long term, like short term, like if you're just like, man, I need to do this to kind of cut some weight, and then I'll adjust and learn over time.
Yeah, because you're not gonna sit there over many years and be like, I'm just gonna stick with this keto diet and just eat these certain things. And you lost a ton of weight, but it's not like a healthy living. It's not a healthy living thing. Like you kind of or an enjoyable one either. It's like you get to a point where you want to be enjoying food again, but being very mindful. So here's one that's specifically the Fad Diets. So there's the cabbage soup diet, the 5-bite diet. Skip breakfast, eat what you like for lunch and dinner, but only 5 bites for each meal.
Now, to be fair, I can make that work on a slice of pizza.
Oh, I can make that work on anything.
I'd probably take like maybe 7 bites of a pizza. Like my wife doesn't like the fact that I tend to eat food pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, with pizza, it's easy. You roll it up. So you have the long strip, and just like you can pound that thing in 2 bites.
It's a calzone at that point.
Yeah. There's the soup diet, the apple cider vinegar diet, the baby food diet, the Hollywood cookie diet. What's this?
Basics: eat 4 to 6 of the branded Hollywood cookies throughout the day instead of meals and snacks. Then have a low cup. What?
I don't know. There's a hard-boiled egg diet. Then there's the plant-based diets, the Eco, Atkins, vegan.
To be fair though, I eat hard-boiled eggs. I eat like 3 or 4 hard-boiled eggs. Not the egg yolk, but the whites for my post-workout.
Gotcha. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this episode of SDYLS Stuff. From the bottom of myself and Josh's heart, we want to thank each and every one of you. If you haven't had a chance, go on the bottom there, hit that little subscribe button, and then hit the like button if you truly enjoyed our episode. And make sure you share this with your friends and everything. And on top of that, if you want to take us on the go, we are actually on Anchor. That is anchor.fm/SDYLS. And then also you can hear us on Spotify at So Do You Like Stuff, and then other major podcasts platforms. If there's one that you cannot find us on, let us know about it. And then also, if you want to get in contact with us or see if what's going to be on the down low list out, so do you like stuff, you can actually hit us up on our Facebook and our Twitter as well. That is for Facebook, it's facebook.com/SSDYLS. And for Twitter, it's the same thing. So it's twitter.com/SSDYLS. Thank you again for watching and supporting this channel, and can't wait for the next one.